Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope everybody's doing well today. Quick little video here. In the shop, getting ready to do a little camping. I got the bags on the dub. My buddy Scott and I, from Doing Stuff, Seeing Stuff YouTube channel, are headed out this weekend, hopefully, up to Southwest Virginia. Hopefully the weather's going to hold up nice, and we'll get out there and get a fire going and just stare into it and think about absolutely nothing. That's the hope. So, but anyway, I've been working some today on the bike and a couple of customers' bikes and a couple of cars, and I've been thinking about a little something I wanted to share with you guys about our trip out west, about some of the single track and a local we met, and something he shared with me that I thought was really important that anybody that rides an off-road machine should hear. You know, I don't have a huge following, but maybe if I can share this a little bit, it'll help the world some. So, funny story, Cody and I, if you haven't seen that single track video, you guys should go watch it, man. It was a really good random find that we found just out in the wilderness riding, and found an awesome trail. But anyway, we started the trail early afternoon. I'm going to say maybe 12:30, 1 o'clock. And we had ridden along and found the trailhead, and it was really smooth and flowing and nice, and looked like kind of like Star Wars Wookiee woods or something, you know, just beautiful. We're riding along. We met a couple of people on mountain bikes, and they just exchanged small talk with them, and they're like, yeah, it's pretty smooth, and no trees down, nothing, no big deal. And so we went along, and we came to after a couple of miles, we came to a pretty good little junction, and to the right was some pretty good elevation change you could see on the map, and to the left, I think maybe kind of headed back in a little way, but wasn't sure. So anyway, I was sitting there thinking about which way to go, and I heard a couple of bikes coming. I thought a couple of bikes, and it turned out to be a local gentleman on a KTM two-stroke, and I pretty much motioned him around, and he was like, nah, I'm gonna stick back here with you guys. We're like, was it rough? And it gets pretty serious up in there for those bikes, probably. He didn't really, you know, try to talk us out of it, but he was just saying, you know, and he was staying back, and he said, nah, y'all go ahead. So didn't really see him too much. We took the right and did a pretty good climb up through there, and began to get pretty steep and rocky, and some exposure, side hill exposure, which is, you know, that's Idaho for you. So anyway, we went along pretty good little ways, and it started getting really beautiful and nice, and there was parts of the trail that were just you could see forever, the Tetons, and just beautiful. So we decided to take a little break, and when we did, in a few minutes, the fella come riding up, and we were kind of asking him, you know, we should come up with a game plan, because we know that it gets serious back up in here. I mean, those trails, you really need to make sure you got plenty of water, plenty of daylight, a way to start a fire in case you don't get out, recovery ropes. It's serious, you know, like, I mean, you could fall off in there and it'd be bad. And the people that grew up there, not so much, but some of that exposure, if your bike goes down in there, you're walking out, you know. But anyway, we had asked him about what he thought about a route for us to go back. And he said, well, I'll tell you what, guys. He said, you climb this next climb, and there's going to be a plateau about midways up. He said the next part of the climb, I don't know if you guys would want to do that. It's really, really serious, even for these KTM two-strokes. And he said, you got to get some speed, and you got to watch what you're doing. It's rutted out pretty good, and it's steep. So we're like, okay. He said, if you go up, you should try the first part of it. It's not that bad. And once you get to the top of that, stop. And there's a hidden trail back to the right that'll take you back down to where you started. He said, and it's easy. And he said, that'll be a good day's ride for you, you know. He said, anything after that last climb is just going to be super technical and tough. And he said, I've been riding it my whole life, but it's serious. So like, okay. So we decided to keep trucking and go up to that part he was talking about. And Cody and I started this climb. I let him go a little bit ahead of me. And we had already been on some pretty steep climbs. And if you watch the video, you'll see a couple of them. Cody's like, I'm running out of power. He's almost to the top. So we get in focus mode. We're climbing. You know, first gear, all the little T-dubs wanted just flying and flooring it and feathering the clutch. And I guess we were so focused on the first part of the climb, I personally, and I don't think Cody did either, saw the midway point. So we went all the way to the top of this climb, man, and I'm talking about serious climbing. And we made it, and it's all on. I let the camera run on that climb, and I stopped a few times, and you can see the camera doesn't do it justice for steepness, but when I stop, the bike slides back, so you can tell. But anyway, we get to the top. The fella comes walking up, looks up at us, and he was just like, what in the world? So, man, the mosquitoes are bad out here tonight. So anyway, he comes riding up behind us, and we take another little break there, and we're talking, and he kind of introduced himself at this point, told us where he was from, and he said, you know, guys, I see you guys are wearing those cameras. He said, you guys seem like pretty normal, nice human beings. He said, if you guys could ever do a man a favor, if you guys would leave the names of the trail and the trail number off of your video, I would really appreciate that. He said, I grew up here. He said, you know, I'd ride in the summers on my dirt bike as a kid, and I might see 1 or 2 people every month. He said, and in the winter on the snowmobile, you might see 2 or 3. He said, but there's just nobody back up in here. And he said, actually, my ancestors built these trails on horseback. And he said, gathering firewood and deer hunting and elk hunting. He said everything. And he said, it's just become that. He said, I want everybody to experience it, but I want them to find their own trail. And that right there rang true to me, because I agree with that. The best trails Cody and I have ever found, like that one, nobody's told us about. We've just looked on a map. You know, get out there with your Gaia, your on X, something that differentiates gravel and dirt and pavement, and get out there, man. Find your own trail. Those have been so much better adventures than an already routed out route for us, mapped out route. But anyway, he told us that, and I see what he's saying, and I'm going to try not to include too much signage and things like that to give away where we were. So get out there and find your own trail. You know, like I said, it's a better adventure. But so, you know, just talking with him, it reminded me of when I was a kid. My grandfather used to invite us up on Saturday nights, and he would churn ice cream in the summer. Hand churn, you know, just hard as you could turn that thing for probably 2 hours. No electric motor on it. It was hand churning, and he would tell stories. And I remember as a kid, man, you might see an ambulance or a fire truck go by, and this is a pretty busy road that connects 2 pretty good-sized towns. Might see an old farm truck in 2 hours. You're not going to see over 2 or 3 cars. When I was a kid, this would have been in the 80s. And now, today, if you went to my pop's house and watched, I'm assuming in 2 hours it'd be over 1,000 cars. And so the world's, you know, it's getting people in it, and the internet's starting to show these awesome places that have been pristine for hundreds of years, man. These trails, if too many people ride them and the wrong people that don't care about them ride them and trash them up, and the government takes it away, we'll never get it back. So the Blue Ribbon Coalition's awesome, you know, all that stuff, and I'm trying to be a member of it and be involved. But this is probably one of the best ways, is to find your own trail. If you have a YouTube channel or a social media following, don't really put the trail number up there. I'm guilty of doing it, but I'm going to not do it anymore. So I watch a good bit of Mad Jack Media, and become a member of his channel. I really enjoy watching his videos, man. He's a cinematographer, videographer, if there's ever been one. Super good camera work, riding single track in Idaho, some of the most treacherous stuff in the West. Camping, he mostly rides a Husky 501, but he's got a CT 110 now, and he just took it up in there, and man, did it amaze me at how good it did. But anyway, low range. He took it camping. He's got it all restored up, and it's really nice. And he's just a good kid, and some of the best content on YouTube for me at the moment. You know, I really enjoy it. But anyway, every video he makes, he pins a comment at the bottom that says, look, guys, if you know this area or know the trail, please don't tell it. let's let people find their own trail. This can be abused, and he's right. So Forrest told me years ago when I first went out there, you know, it's starting to get busier than it's ever been, and we did see a good many bikes when we were out there. Not that many, but more than you would have thought, you know. But anyway, go out there in the summers and find your own trail. It's so nice to get out there and ride, man. And but the things he told me, like he told this gentleman we met, told me, he said, you know, my ancestors built these trails. And I don't know if you guys know much about that if you haven't been out there, but it's mountain bikes, hikers, horseback, dirt bikes, e-bikes, you name it. It's multi-use, and everybody respects each other. And, you know, if you're on a dirt bike, you can't just go 100 miles an hour because there might be a hiker around the bend, you know, in the trail walking a dog or something. So everybody respects one another. And he said he come over a knoll on a trail he's been riding forever. And there was a couple of gentlemen on mountain bikes, and he kind of slid over and let them get by, and he said they were just kind of glaring at him, and he stopped and talked to them, and he said he just had an attitude, and he said he ended up thinking he was going to have to fight them guys because they told him he shouldn't be riding his dirt bike on those trails. And he told them, look, man, these trails are for everybody. You know, my ancestors built these trails. Where are you guys from? Turned out they were from not even from around there. Matter of fact, I think they were from another country maybe or something. But anyway, I see where he's coming from. I want to respect what he asked of us. And moving forward, I'm going to try to do that. Now, we'll share some trails around here maybe. But there's a certain road here that I don't mention because I think some Jeep guys found out about it and like to destroy it. Not taking away from Jeep people. But big 40-inch tires with, you know, 500 horsepower shreds up trails if the wrong person's driving it. So, and the wrong people drove on this one after I had visited it for the first time. But anyway, not to bore you guys, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thought it's been a while since we touched base, so we're going out there. We're going to go camping. Hopefully the bugs are going back to the ground and won't bother us. It's supposed to be kind of cool in Southwest Virginia this weekend. So, all right, guys, I appreciate you. Thanks for subbing to the channel, and take care. Come back to the next one. And we'll talk to you soon, okay? Take care.